Hello everyone, I'm Nick from nextstepnick.com. Today I'm joined by a special guest. Hello.
Hello, I am Lord Ash from A Good Face for Gaming. Thank you for letting me join you today.
That's alright, welcome back. People might recognise Lord Ash from the Behind the Boss series. We don't really do that much anymore just because, to be honest, time, isn't it, more than anything?
Time, it takes a lot of editing to do and a lot of raging, especially when we play Dark Souls.
Yeah, I think the problem is that getting the footage seems like a small task, but when you realise you haven't got a save and you need to run through for like a boss on the final stages. We had a load of bosses where we said, yeah, we want to talk about this boss at the end of the game, and then we're like, haven't got the footage.
30 hours into the game.
Haven't got the footage. It's a boss from the start now.
Yeah,
They're my
yeah,
favourite. Yeah. So we were just sort of the limits of time were a bit of an issue. So far we've done this re-recording today
5 times.
Yeah, for some reason I've said things I've never said before. When I first introduced you, I think I called you Next Game for Face or something.
Yeah.
And then 2 minutes later I said, "Thank good for you having me."
Thank good for you having me.
I've never said that before.
That should be the tagline for the video.
Thank good for you having me,
so,
everyone.
What are we playing today? Or what I should say, what are you playing today?
Yeah, so I'm showing you a little bit of Hunt Showdown today. So what do you know about the game already? Not a lot. You haven't really played it, have you?
It has a lot of mms.
Yeah, the soundtrack is great. The soundtrack is so good.
To be honest, it is a really good soundtrack. Very simple as well. It's just humming.
Yeah, I really like it.
What I know from the game, not a great deal, but I know it's sort of like a team survival shooter. There are, I don't know if they're zombies or ghouls or infected people.
Yeah, kind of.
It's set kind of in the bayou.
Yeah, pretty much. There's not really much in the way of a story per se. Basically, you have different hunters. So this is my hunter at the moment, Coin O'Farrell. They're all randomised in regard to what you get. You've got like legendary ones you can buy as well. There is normal currency and like in-game currency. But you can't really buy advantages per se. You can buy like specialist hunters, but they don't really do a lot.
Okay.
But what basically happens is you take them in, you can upgrade, you can give them like different gear based on what you want to take as a loadout. It's like PvP and PvE, so you're fighting against the environment. You need to track down like a monster and kill it by finding clues. But you're in teams, and other teams are also tracking the monster.
Yeah.
You need to kill it, get the bounty off its body, and then get out. But other teams also want to as well, and they can kill you too. So
rather than just we've got what we came for, let's get out. It's we've got what we came for, let's nick what they've came for as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like only one person can take a bounty, and each monster drops 2 bounties.
Right.
So if you're on a map
with
one, you can get 1 or 2 monsters on the map, like big monsters. There are normal like enemies, but they're like the big bads.
Yeah.
And most maps have 1 or 2, and if you've got the 1, you know that it's going to drop 2 bounties from its body. So only one team can take it. So all the other teams want to kill you. If there's 2, you know there's 4 bounties, but then there's more teams. So there's a lot of like competitive play, but the sound design is great. I mean, I'll show you some of my hunters. I've got a few here.
Can you customise the look of your hunter? Because
at the moment you can't, which is a shame. They all look very different, and you can kind of, when you're recruiting your hunter, you can kind of pick which one you like the look of, and you'll see like a little loadout here of what they've got. But the problem is that at the moment they don't really have customization, but they're kind of, you lose them so quickly. I mean, this is a legendary hunter here, who I've paid those bonds for that I've earned in the game, and then he's not any different than anyone else really. You
very
can see
big fur coat he's wearing.
Yeah, he's going to be incredibly warm.
Exactly what you want to wear down in the bayou where it's hot.
He's a cool character. You'll see like the traits at the bottom here do different things. So
you do get traits?
Yeah, you unlock them as you level. So these points here are basically for when you level, and you level up your characters. You have like your character level, and then you have your overall level. So the progress screen here is up. My overall level is 54, but then my actual character level is sort of 1, 18, 12. They have different like abilities that they can then get. So with the traits here, you can then unlock traits if you have these little points left over. So, but the problem is once a hunter's dead, they're gone. All their gear is gone. They basically disappear. They're gone forever. But when you get them to level 25, you can retire them, and that gives you a massive XP boost overall. So you like unlock more stuff.
So you can have multiple hunters on one.
Yeah. So I've got a few here. I've got like a few level 1s. I've got a couple of higher levels. Today I'm just going to play with the lower levels because this is very much a team-based game, and I'm not really going to be on mic. So it's the kind of game where if you're not, then you will probably die. It's a very difficult game if you're not working as a team because it's all about that teamwork. It's really cool. I really like it.
I see there's lots of different variations of guns and things.
Yeah,
cool.
You're only seeing a couple here as well because what I'll do is I will start the game in a minute, but I'll just show you where things are just so that everyone's got an idea because I know this is kind of a different concept for a lot of people. It's very Battle Royale-esque. but you'll see I've got like large slots. I've got my tools and my consumables, and I can take, for example, one large weapon and a small weapon, or I can take 2 small weapons, or I can take 2 medium weapons and stuff like that.
Do you have a preference?
I do. I really like the Winfield, because it's a semi-auto like lever action rifle, and I really like that. This one here, for example, has a blade on the bottom. There's a big melee focus, so if I equip that, I'll take that. Actually, no, I'm going to take the aperture because it's got like a little scope on it. But you unlock different weapons as you go through the game. Each one has like its own strengths and its own differences. So, for example, some of these pistols, the Lamat here has a shotgun as well as a pistol. So it's quite strong. Yeah, it's quite a strong pistol. But the problem is that you could take something like this semi-auto pistol here and you'll have more shots. Or it might not have the stopping power that you could get from, for example, one of the chain pistols here with more ammo. So it's all about kind of what you want to bring and finding your kind of feet and understanding what you like.
I'm guessing from the look of the chain pistol, it's got a lot of rounds, but I'm guessing it takes a long time to reload.
It's to be honest, I might bring that. It's very slow to reload. There are perks that kind of encourage you to fight with them. So there's perks that give you stuff like...
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm making him handicapped before he even starts.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'll do really well. The problem is if anyone is watching this to see good gameplay, then go elsewhere because I will die a lot. But like here, I'm just buying equipment with the dollars that I earn in the game up here, and then I'm like equipping that at the same time. The things with stars next to them are kind of like my favourites and my go-tos. So at the moment, I've got like a spyglass, a first aid kit, and a knife.
Oh, so
and then
you
I've also
can
got this,
like fire bombs and poison bombs and things.
And they're all tactically useful because this game it's not the kind of game you'd normally play where you go into a fight and basically, the person who sees you first, you instantly die. It's not really like that. You can use tactics quite well. You can set traps. There's a big emphasis on sound design. So when we're in the game, I'll show you a bit more about the sound design. But it's a big game for that. I mean, it's all about what you can hear. And there's an element of you can't really camp per se because the maps are big enough that there's not enough people to kind of do that.
Okay, cool.
And you can kind of give yourself away as well quite easily. Gunfire plays a big emphasis, so if someone shoots miles away, I'll be able to hear them and I can track them based on where that shot comes from. Stuff like that.
Alright, well.
So I shall start a game.
Get into the game?
Yeah, I'll do a team of 2 because it's the one thing that is a problem is I'm playing on console here, and the one problem is that you tend to find people disconnect very quickly when it comes to teams. They don't really like being parts of the team. I'll try allowing the team of 3, and I'll see if I can find 2 partners. Problem is, like I say, people will disconnect. There we go. They'll disconnect quite quickly if they don't like the team dynamic. So, for example, if they see a lower level player and they've prestiged, because you can prestige in this, that's what that little icon is up here.
See, that's one of the things I'm not a huge fan of with games like this. Is that the auto balance? It'll pair you up with just whoever, and a lot of the time, as you said, this happens. They'll leave.
Yeah.
Rather than sort of, just my opinion, pairing you up with someone similar skill level.
Yeah.
Against another team of the same skill level. But
well, there was talk of them doing that, but the problem is that I don't think it's legitimately happening. Really, it's that there are quite a few people who just get paired up, and it doesn't seem like there's much rhyme or reason to it. So the person I've just been paired with is a rank 100 level 1, but they haven't prestiged yet. They seem happy to play though, so I'm happy to play with them. I'm quite new to this, to be honest. I like it, and you learn a lot. I feel like I'm still learning now when I'm playing it, but it's a good game. There are things I would change. I don't think it's perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I really like the way in which it kind of subverts what I'm used to. So I like the fact that sound design has a heavy emphasis.
Yes, one of the things that often downfall of a lot of games is their sound design.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. I think the thing I like about it is that it's very bare bones. There's not really like a soundtrack per se once you're in game. It's all about like the ambient sounds, and if someone's moving quick, you hear them moving on the mud. You can discern between mud and flooring and water and wet mud and grass. So you can kind of say, okay, I know that's coming from the north.
Sounds very intriguing.
It's really good. The only thing I would say is that it's, for a game that's been out a long time, it's recently come to consoles, and crossplay has just been enabled, which is kind of what caught my eye. But the one thing I would say is, for a game that's been out as long as it has, I think it was 2017 it was first sort of partially released.
I didn't realise it was that.
I think it was, and there's still a lot of issues I would say with in regard to balancing. I still think there are some just little problems. I mean, for example, enemies do burn damage and bleed damage. That's like a persistent thing you have to stop. If you don't, then it will just kill you. And the problem with that is that, whilst that's great, it also means you can be completely hobbled if you get caught out. For example, if you and I are in a fight and an NPC on fire comes at me and sets me on fire, and I can't hold square for the right amount of time, I'll just burn to death. So it's an actual animation, so it's difficult. There are things I like and things I dislike. I think it's a good game though.
So with regards to things like loadout and preparing yourself, would you say a lot of it, your strategy of winning is how you prepare yourself, or is it more sort of how you play?
I would say it definitely comes into it. I think it's a game there is a high skill boundary. There's a definite sort of high boundary to entry where you need to know what weapons do, but you also need to understand the actual mechanics of the game.
Oh, right.
I think a lot of it relies on your team dynamic. You can take down an enemy team on your own. I mean, the most I've killed on my own, and I'm just going to say this now off the cuff, the most I've killed on my own is, I think about 4, but that's pure luck.
Right.
But 4 or 5. But it depends really how you play. You can win as a single player, but it's highly unlikely that you're going to do well.
Really, really hard.
Yeah.
Just to let everyone who's listening know, I'm terrible at first-person shooter games, especially online first-person shooter games.
It's not really your bag, is it? You're not really into the PvP element usually.
No.
So here we are. I'm
waiting for the other players.
My teammate doesn't seem to be here. If she doesn't load in, then I will be on my own, and you'll see what I mean.
Oh.
So what's happening here at the moment is we're just waiting for other players to join, and at this point I can kind of use this thing called dark sight to identify where clues are. So you can see those blue sort of glowing orbs. That's where there's a clue.
So what's the clues for then?
Well, each area on the map, so you see all these different areas, named areas, they could potentially house the creature. It looks like there's only one, so on the top left you can see the little spider icon, so that means the monster on this level is the spider.
Okay.
It could be in any of these areas, and the clues, you'll find one at each place. Once you've collected 3 of them, they'll point you directly to where it is. Each clue you pick up will narrow the map, so it will say, okay, you get your first clue, it's not in the top left. You'll get your second clue, it's not on the bottom. So you'll know that it's up in the top right somewhere.
That's a clever little feature.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Even if you don't get the clues, so say for example if I am all on my own. Okay, this is going to go well, you're going to see me die.
I must admit, the first thing I'm noticing, I really like the lighting design on this.
It's a very attractive game for that.
Yeah, and like the mud textures and on the gun barrel.
Yeah, you can clean your weapon for real money, which is annoying.
First enemy ahead.
Oh, that's your basic zombie. I'm just quick mapping my weapons here, so I'll get my knife out. So basically, you want to keep your sound down at this point. You want to make sure you're a little bit quiet, because otherwise players will know where you are.
A little bit quiet, he says, as the zombie just loudly proclaims its death.
Yeah, you can potentially get perks that make it a little bit quieter, but like here, when I'm moving, if we just go silent for a second. There's that real emphasis on that sound. It makes it very unnerving and very eerie. And there's a lot of different places where... So I thought I heard sound there.
I can see what you mean. They've really made it and designed it in a way that you have to listen out.
Yeah.
As opposed to just... Oh, there's a map marker, there's someone coming in from the left.
Yeah, exactly. You can't really do that. Even if people make noise, it won't show them on the map. For example, here, these crows, I'll do these on purpose, but with these certain areas, if you have a listen now, there's a lot of different sound. We've got a creature over here, which is one of the things I dislike, one of the barbed wire monsters. This here, these crows, if I was to run right now, they would fly into the air, make quite a lot of noise, and they'd also provide like an area where people can tell where I am. So it's all about that, but it's balancing your timing as well, where you have to think, okay, these guys are going to go for this monster. How are we going to do this? I mean, I don't have to be the one to kill it, I just need to have to be the one to get away with the bounty.
Unfortunately, you're all on your own as well.
Yeah, now. Exactly. And the thing is that, say, for example, with movement here, you'll see the cans at the bottom of the ladder. If I did that without looking where I was going, likewise with the glass.
That's really a really cool little feature, that is. The fact that you can't just steamroll straight in. No. If
someone was to run in here, I would know straight away where they are. Likewise, if we have a listen here, I can tell.
I didn't even notice there was an enemy there until he coughed.
Yep, that's one of the things that's a pro and a con really, is that the game has beautiful sound design, and it is a very attractive game. But a lot of the textures kind of blend together, so you'll end up with muddy enemies on muddy backgrounds. So the palette of brown is very strong in this, and that can be a problem. Different enemies as well have different counters. So can you hear the bugs now?
Yeah.
That's a one of these women that has a hive inside her, so she'll send bugs after you and they will poison you. so you have to take them out if they see you. Likewise over there we've got a heavy enemy that requires knifing to be killed, like the best way to be killed.
Looks like your first
My first clue.
little clue is in
So
this
we'll
barn
head
somewhere.
in here.
All the noise of just opening a door really like reverberates around.
Yeah, and now the muted sound outside means that I can tell where things are. If we do go suddenly silent, by the way, so this is my first clue, it's just because I do need to have a little bit of listening when I play this. So I found my first clue, so when we go on the map now, you'll see this whole
so it's
area
greyed
is gone.
out the
Yeah,
top left
and the bottom right, bottom left even,
bottom
sorry.
left.
So we know now that it's not there. Likewise with doors. On the one hand, it's great that you can sneak around and open the doors quietly if you're sneaking. But on the other hand, because the doors are painted red, it's very obvious when one is open from a distance. And if I stand up and open the door, you get that loud noise. If I crouch, so there's a lot of emphasis on the sound design. And I really like that. So for
That
example,
horse just twitch.
it is that horse did. So what that means is if I got close to that horse.
Oh dear.
So that's one of the larger enemies. Its main counter is a knife. So that's we were quite lucky there. You'll see my health at the bottom is the red bars. They'll regenerate over time, the bars, but if you actually lose one completely, so I've lost my first one there, it's turned black from when I fell, I'll have to use an item or find a medikit. So I'll just use an item. I bought
Rather
these
him
wrong.
than me just randomly stick a massive needle into my wrist.
Yeah, well, found it on the floor, looks quite nice. Not sure what it could be any kind of fluid.
I'm guessing all the little white circles at the bottom, is that your ammo inside your gun?
That's my ammo count. So with most weapons in this, you don't really have automatic weapons. There aren't any. There are some semi-auto weapons, but they're not ridiculously fast and they have damage penalties.
See, I kind of like that, the fact you can't just hold down the trigger,
You can't, no.
unload so much like
You
lead
can
into
fan.
someone.
You can fan a pistol with a perk that makes it shoot very, very fast. But the problem is that the kickback is such that unless you're very, very close, it will just kick
really,
you back.
I was about to say, this really is a very pretty game, and then you zoomed in on that texture and it went a bit blurry then.
It's a pretty game. The problem is like with this scope, for example. So there, if you have a listen. That's gunshots.
another player.
That's
shooting.
another player, yep. And from what they're doing, I can kind of discern what they're...
Oh.
Dogs. I hate the dogs. I hate the dogs. No.
Oh, another one. Oh.
So I've just been hit and I've got bleeding damage. You'll see my bar is going down. If I don't hold square, that would have emptied and I would have had to use a healing kit, but luckily I could hold square. The dogs are one of the more annoying enemies. There are some in this that they can really cause problems for you. Most enemies have an effective counter. There are a couple of PvE enemies that don't have a proper counter. You saw me beating to death one of the larger guys, like stabbing one of the larger guys earlier. Some of those guys are sometimes covered in barbed wire, so as they hit you, they inflict bleeding, but that also happens when you hit them.
Oh, wonderful.
So yeah, it can mean that you've got a real problem there because they're also resistant to shooting.
So where's your next...
I'm probably going to head
you've got to
towards
find to-
Sweet Bell Flower because that's a nice central point between a few, and also Fort Carmack here gives me a nice overwatch point. It's a game that you really have to think about the ways in which different things can be utilised and really listen out. I probably won't play very well. This is my excuse because we're recording, so I can't. I mean,
got
here
an audience now, I'm watching him.
so you can see these twigs here. If I was to walk across these without crouching, then every now and then... Oh, didn't happen that time. Sometimes you'll hear a loud snap. There are more dogs in the
Crows,
road.
more dogs.
So if I was to shoot now, for example, those dogs would be... I'd be able to deal with the dogs, but the crows would fly. So it would really set me off for where I am. These cages here as well sometimes contain dogs or chickens. So if you get too close, they'll sound off, and then it lets people know.
That?
That was one of the dogs.
Oh right.
It will
sounded
let
like
them
a
know.
cow.
Yeah, they are weird creatures. There's no backstory to them whatsoever. There's like a bestiary which kind of gives you a bit of an insight where you can read a bit about them. But I think it would be kind of nice to see some items in the game explaining a little bit. Don't have to be obvious, but just a couple of little sort of posters maybe.
Just me noticing it. But is it when you zoom in on your scope sight on your rifle? Is it everything inside the circle is clear? Everything outside the circle is fuzzy. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
this isn't an ideal scope. This is just literally using like an iron sights attachment. With a real scope, it would actually have the glass, and I'd be able to have a nice sight, or I'd have to clean it to keep it clean.
I'm guessing there's no real safe environments in the game.
Not really. Everywhere can be attacked. There's nowhere you can go where you know you're going to be safe. You've got to always kind of be on guard. There are certain areas that attract players more than others. There's like a pinging system as well. So if we were playing together, for example, and I spot someone, I can then ping them.
Oh, that's a cool little feature.
I could tell you to move over here. I could point out an enemy. If I could point out like an NPC. If I point out a player, for example, you can... So it's a very easy way of pinging things around. It's very similar to stuff like... It's not as in-depth as Apex, but it's got some really nice, unique little applications to it.
So this is a lot more of a slower pace.
Yeah.
Tactical.
You can play a whole game without seeing another player at certain points. Sometimes, you can extract at any point to save your hunter and get experience for what you've done. So you gain experience and money for like killing normal enemies and finding clues. And say, for example, now if I saw that they were all fighting over the spider, I thought that I could just lose this hunter and I cared about him. I could just extract by moving to any of the extraction points. There are only a few on each map, so they're designated by these little white arrows here.
Can you extract any time?
Yep, at any time you want. You could literally turn around and leave. When I saw I was on my own, if I wasn't recording here, I would probably leave straight away, just because...
What's that moving in the middle of the lake then?
That is a water devil. So if I was to move near the water, that's like leeches, and they can move ridiculously fast and they cause bleed damage. So they're a real pain, to be honest. There's the more battery over there. I don't really want to be where I am right now because I'm really exposed.
I was going to say, you're right on top of a bridge.
Yeah, I just wanted to have a quick look over there and just have a bit of an overwatch on the more battery.
Oh, that's on fire.
I knew that was going to hurt me, but I didn't think it would take the whole bar, so that's okay. So now, for example, we're moving through the bridge, but you can hear that.
Something's up ahead. Or
that
down below.
That is the devil down below. So they are very loud if they see you. So let's have a look with my spyglass.
So I'm guessing all these little things, it didn't tell you when you went in. You've had to learn over progressive playthroughs. And
you learn a lot through trial and error. You can, if a good player sort of picks you up and carries you a little bit, you learn a lot there. One of the basic ones, as silly as it sounds, was just going into a map and being wary about firing your shots. It's just being careful. There are certain points where it's okay to fire a shot, for example. There are other times where you don't really want to. For example, here, that woman there, if she sees me, she's one of the hive women.
Oh.
Okay, so what that means, what's just popped up, is that someone has killed the boss, and they now have to sit basically near the boss whilst it's being banished. So that boss is being banished over there.
So if you wanted, you could go and attack those players.
That's what I'm going to do.
Oh, okay.
So moving fast in the water like this will attract those water devils if they're nearby. But what will happen now is they have to wait up here until the boss is banished. At that point, they pick up the bounty, and then they need to make their way to an extraction point.
Oh, we just had one of the twigs go then. I'm guessing they're quite near an extraction point already.
Sometimes they are, and sometimes they're not. It's a very good planning phase there. So I could go up here and counter them when they go to escape, but they might make a complete different turn and say, actually, I'm going to go a bit further afield.
Oh, so there's one of the hive ladies.
Yep, her head is actually behind her. A headshot is an instant kill on her, but because of where her head is, it's kind of hard to get that shot.
Really is good sound design. The sort of echo on those shots is absolutely brilliant.
You can play around as well in other modes and sort of test what levels you can hear from which distances. So you can kind of hear a rifle from all different distances and say, okay, this is at 50 metres, this is at 100 metres, this is even further. There's a lot of different enemy designs, and there's some really interesting stuff in this game. I think, like I say, there are things I like and things I dislike, but it's got some real potential to be something absolutely fantastic. I'm near crows.
Are you going to go frolicking in the cornfields?
I saw enemies in there, so I'm going to completely skim it.
So is it just this map at the moment, or...?
It seems like the map kind of rotates, and it's the same map for the most part, but with different elements. It can be day, it can be night, it can be morning or evening. There can be different elements in play.
From the looks of it, though, it looks like quite a large encompassing map. So.
Yeah, you recognise specific areas after a while, so I recognise where I am now. But at the same time, you don't. It's not a case of sort of seeing it once and thinking, okay, I know this map now. There's a lot of ins and outs. Oh no! So she's seen me.
And
I got her in her head before she could, so that's good. We'll keep moving. The problem is, though, is because I've fired that shot quite close to where they are.
Others will know where you are now and try and come after you.
One of the tactics you use is you can, if you don't shoot for a while, players might think there's no more players left, which means they're not prepared when you kill them. Right. That being said, when the players pick up the bounty, they're able to search around with this special dark vision that enables them to see all enemies on the map. So they'll be able to see me as an orange outline.
Oh, behind you.
Yeah, it's just a normal one. It's like an orange outline that will tell them where I am. Likewise,
is
though.
that the same as you showed at the beginning of the video when your hands come up?
Yeah, they would see me as an orange blip. Likewise, though, I will see them. You can see there's a vortex here where there's bosses vanishing.
So they should be around here somewhere.
They will be somewhere. And when they've picked up the bounties, you'll be able to see them as like a lightning bolt. So I'll be able to tell where they are via that.
And if you look in the top left corner, you can see around that spider symbol where it says banishing how close they are to actually completing the ritual. So
so there's one there. He's seen me and I've seen him, but the NPCs are getting in the way.
And
now I'm on fire. Yep, this is what I meant when I said that the I can't get out of the way. The wall's in the way. This is what I meant when I said earlier that the NPCs can sometimes just be a pain because they get in the way. And there, for example, I was changing to my first aid pack and it wouldn't let me change.
I just see there was actually ammo on the top, so you can get some ammo, but
yeah, definitely you can.
So he was in there. There he is.
That's a headshot. He's down. So that's one kill.
So there should be one more.
Yeah, he can pick up his teammate though. That counts as a kill though, so I have killed him. He will be picked up, I would imagine, because he's in a nice spot. So you'll see here now the lightning. That will tell me vaguely where they are. He's back in the window again. I don't know why you go back to that window after being shot in the window. But
so your teammates can pick you back up?
Yes, they can, yes.
Oh, okay. So it's not an automatic if you get shot or taken out, that's it, you're out of the game.
Each time you die, you're able to be respawned with slightly less health. You lose a bar. So they're over there. I just saw that door open and I saw some light.
So this is where it comes into being very patient, not rushing.
Yeah, exactly.
See, this is probably the kind of sort of game, or I wouldn't call it battle royal game, but a PvE, PvP game that I could get into because my fast twitch reactions on shooter games are terrible.
Yeah,
I'll admit that now, mine are terrible. I sort of end up panicking, but I like to play, if I do play games like this, what you're doing now, the sniper.
Yeah, there's a lot of variation you can use. The problem with this game is that it's a really, sorry, I'm just focusing up, so if I go a bit quiet, that's why. It's a really good game for tactics and thinking. So for example, if they wanted to, if they knew I was on my own, they could potentially rush me and kill me. Or they could even try and just escape, and they would probably be able to get away. I wouldn't be able to do very much to stop them. But from the looks of things, I'm just checking here. You can see that lightning there.
So
I can also,
still hovering around.
Because the power that they have to see me only lasts for 5 seconds each. So they can see me for a total of 5 seconds, and then that power's gone. Which means they can see a really clear pinpoint of where I am, whilst I can only see a vague direction. But mine lasts until they either escape or die, and theirs lasts for 5 seconds. So it's a nice trade-off. It's a nice trade-off, most definitely. Okay, so they've gone out the back of the house from the looks of things. I need to relocate because they know where I am. So we're going to go around.
So this is where the game becomes essentially a secondary game inside this mode. Where now you're hunting them down and they're trying to escape, or they can put up resistance and fight you back. Yeah, they've moved.
So they're trying to run. There's a escape point over there. The problem is that the NPCs can cause real trouble here. So that was an explosion going off. What might even happen is there might be other players who have set traps to wait for these guys, but we don't know until we get closer, which is a problem. That is an immolator. So if I was to shoot that guy, he would explode into flames. And he would probably kill me. But if I beat him to death, he won't explode. He's in the way, however, so we're going to go round him.
Oh, so you can traverse over like gates and things like that.
To a certain height. They're not. You can't sort of hop fences, like high fences or anything like that. You can only hop over certain things. There they go.
Did that get him? No.
If it gets him, I'll get a little white marker.
He's moving.
Nope, I've missed him.
Carts.
They're running ahead. There he is, he's up there. See, if I had a teammate at this point, I would be able to do a bit more. If they get to the point, they then have 30 seconds before the extraction begins. They're shooting at me. I just heard the shot go past.
So it's not an automatic escape. They still have to sort of hold the point.
They have to hold the point and make sure that they are basically safe. Someone fired a shot at me just then. I heard the bullet whiz past me, so that's a silenced weapon. There's a lot of immolators here, which is a problem.
That's a really cool, harking back again to the sound design, the fact that you heard the shot whiz past your character's ear.
The problem is as well is it makes you very conscious and tense, because there are certain points where you might not hear something but you think you have, and vice versa. You might not hear something.
I suppose that's a good design feature of the game, though. The fact that it wants to keep you
precisely
sort of in the moment, tense, and not,
I think it's a great bit of design work. So they're nearby now. This is a dangerous place to be.
Go to the high ground.
So you can hear them shooting now. They're not shooting at me, which makes me think there's another player potentially giving them trouble. There may be another player nearby. So one of them has extracted a bit of bounty. They're both out. So both players have managed to get away, which means all the bounties have gone. That means that for my part, for example, I can't really do any more. I have to just get away. But the problem is because I heard gunfire, the likelihood is that there is another player near there. Now that player could say, well, actually they want to go for me to increase their sort of gains.
So you, with your character, obviously you haven't got the bounty for this map, but because you got that kill on the other player character, you still end up with a bit more of experience.
Yeah.
Just surviving the map.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to gain more experience. So what I could do, for example, is I could kill a lot more with those immolators and different enemies, and that would in turn increase my experience there. But for now, I think the best thing to do would be to extract. I think there's another player nearby, and of course, without the bounty, I have no clue where he is.
Oh, you're risking the water again.
The problem with the water is if you sneak quietly, you can get away without anyone seeing you, like without the water devils finding you. But I'm now moving very slowly through an object that will make me slower if I try to run.
And you're very, very exposed just in the middle of this little lake.
It's very much a trade-off. You could, for example, go for a much longer distance around the map.
Oh,
that's the horses from the extraction point. I'm being very cautious just in case someone is already here. So I'm extracting now. Sometimes horses make noise when people are nearby, so I'm just wary of that. Someone is here.
There he is.
Yeah, so there we go. That's a player.
Very nice.
But usually they're in twos.
Oh, a little bit of a glitch.
Yeah.
Some of his items. So can you actually... Oh, you can actually take things from...
I can, yes. I can pick up his loadout if I want to. That's that silenced rifle, so the likelihood is this is the guy that shot at me. There's the Vanguard. I've never actually used the Vanguard, so I think I will swap out for
if
it.
you take this other player's items, has he lost them forever now?
Well, that character's dead, so basically that character is dead for good. So that character won't come back. That player is dead indefinitely.
I love the fact we caught a little bit of a graphical glitch there, that parts of the gun were still hovering in the air.
Whenever anyone extracts, that happens every time.
Oh.
Every time. Yeah.
I was going to say, we'll just take it as your character's so fast on the trigger, he shot the guy and the gun is still hanging in the air because it was too fast.
Yeah, it was very much a Looney Tunes moment, I thought. I liked it.
Indeed.
But no, it's a good game. There's that tenseness. For example, with that, we saw that silenced rifle, so that was the guy who fired at me. There was also another little bug there. I don't know if people saw when I was trying to pick up the weapons and it said ammo full, so I couldn't actually take his loadout, which is a glitch that has stopped me from taking a gun. So there are problems with the game that need to be fixed like that.
Right, oh.
There are. So he had a nice pistol there that I'd not seen before.
Yeah.
I couldn't pick it up because of a glitch. But I'm happy with that. It went quite well.
Yeah.
It wasn't a bad recording.
So if anyone wants this game, as you can see on screen, is Hunt Shadowrun. And we're just going to get a little mission summary of how well Nick has done.
Yeah, and it's a Hunt Showdown, by the way.
Hunt Showdown, my apologies.
You're combining two games. I've always wanted to play Shadowrun.
Dyslexia for the win.
So you'll see here, my character level has gone up here as well from the experience. My main level has gone up a bit too. And then you'll get a breakdown of what we did there. So 10 monsters were killed. I killed 2 hunters, found a clue but failed the contract.
And there we have a little bit again of that sound design. Very simple, just humming, but it's done in such a way that there's quite a lot of weight.
Yeah.
And sort of melancholy for the soul.
It's really nice.
It really does fit the aesthetics of the game.
You'll see here as well now that I've now got that 6 and the arrow next to him.
Which you've leveled up 6 levels.
Pretty much, yeah, he's level 7 now. So what I can do is I can use those points to unlock new traits. So by clicking on this plus here, I can then go through all the different traits. For example, reduce the reaction range of animals, so I'm less likely to be detected. Gain a health boost when I pick up a clue. Less damage from bleeding. So there's a lot of things that you can do.
Art design is very, very unique as well.
Yeah, I really like those drawings.
It looks like, especially the one with the man. That looks like, is it the Vitruvian Man drawing?
Yeah, I think it's got some really beautiful art design to it.
A bit of Cthulhu added in.
There is an element of that. I really like the design of it. It's a really pretty game, and it's very different. But like these perks will give me different abilities in the game. So, for example, that one there, remain in iron sights when firing whilst using a lever action rifle. So when I'm using that rifle I was using, I would stay down the scope and I wouldn't then lose that sight on someone. I could just keep firing.
So you can keep firing without having to.
Yeah, exactly. So I could, if I apply
stance.
that means that is now there for when I next play a match. That will be ready. Likewise, levering here, faster rate of fire from the hip when using lever action rifles. I could go with Lightfoot, vault, jump, and climb ladders silently. You'll see that there is the cost.
Your preferred style is a lever action rifle.
I do like bolt actions, but the problem I find is if it's one shot, I get very anxious, and that tends to make me miss. Whereas if I've got multiple shots, I tend to hit with my shots anyway, but it gives me that little bit of leeway where I don't feel as tense. And a headshot is a headshot, so there are some of these perks that make people very, very strong. So Quarter Master here, you can literally equip a medium slot weapon as well as a large slot. So I could have a slightly larger shotgun and a sniper rifle.
So I'm guessing you don't end up very bullet spongy if you shoot someone in the head.
They are. There's one perk in the game I'm against that kind of affects that, which is this one here, Bulwark, which reduces the damage from explosions and prevents being instantly killed, which means a headshot won't instantly kill. I don't like that perk. I think it's a bit dirty, to be honest. It kind of eliminates the idea of the skill-based element because you can take a headshot and survive.
It also takes the threat away from or at any point anyone could.
You could run at someone with a one-star shotgun, for example, and know that the first shot won't kill you, and they'll have to reload.
So just tank the blow.
Yeah, exactly. But that being said, you need to be quite high level in regard to the character to get that.
Yeah, I've just read level 89, I believe that was.
Yeah, so that's your overall level, but you'd have to actually get these points here to be able to equip it. So Tomahawk costs 1 of those trait points. Others cost 2 and 2, but I would imagine Bulwark probably costs about 10 or 12, so it would probably be quite an expensive perk. But yeah, so that's the basic premise of Hunt Showdown. But thank you very much for joining me. What do you think of the game now that you've seen a bit of it?
Yeah, it's really, really interesting. I like the art, as we were saying, I love the art style, sound design is on point. The fact that it's actually the way they've designed it is to be a very much slowed down, more thorough, thought out first person shooter online game in teams or on your own, as you unfortunately found yourself.
Yeah.
It's not just one of those, I'm gonna hop over here, jump here, spray 50,000 bullets on people and then I win.
Yeah.
You have to take your time, be very slow, be very methodic, plan things out. And as you were saying before, if you had teammates that you were on a headset with, you could coordinate it a lot better. Like when you were trying to go after those players, if the other player maybe had stayed in your team, he could have flanked one, or you could have lured them to him in a waiting spot. So yeah, it leads to a lot of different play styles and play tactics, which seem really, really cool.
Yeah.
The perks, I like the look of the perks. The actual, even just the art style of the guns themselves, the fact that they've all got different statistics. Some are better at long range, some short range, like handling, fire rate. So it really does allow you to customise, maybe not the character look, but your actual loadout and play style.
Most definitely. There's a lot of room for going at the game your way, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to equip a knife, I've already got one. But there's a lot of room for being able to sort of say, okay, I like to go with, I'm the kind of player who.
Yeah.
So for example, I could be the kind of player who, I tend to use flames, like fire bombs, to constrict movement.
Yeah.
So for example, if I know a player is going a certain way, I can constrict that path with fire, make sure that they're going to run into me.
You can lead them to where you want to
go.
go.
I'm very much a player that plays with the loadout of the map sort of thing. Like I look at the terrain and kind of think about how I can stop people from going to certain places. Whereas
cool.
other players might say, well, actually, I'm going to go with dynamite, so when you get into a house, I can blow the house up. There's a lot of that where it's a case of you know what you've got with you, and you kind of know the different things that work against different player types. Because there's very much player types. Like with me, if they had rushed me, they would have been able to kill me quite easily. Yeah. But by going when they went, they were able to escape me.
And this is only my interpretation, but I'm guessing the reason when you die or if you lose the match that your hunter just ends up dying is the way they've done it is because rather than customising the hunter, you're doing more of the loadout. So it's not as a big loss if you lose that hunter, unless it's one you really do like.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is the higher level the hunter that gets, you can kind of then retire them and then you use those points.
Yeah.
Once they're over 25. This is the one thing I don't like.
Microtransactions.
Yeah, and when you think this is a paid-for game, I just don't like to see it. I know people sort of say, "Oh, microtransactions," and I harp on about them, but I just don't like to see it. And
No,
I'm not going to go into too much more than that. I just don't like it.
Going back onto my previous point about the hunters, if
Yeah.
you've lost one, is it gone permanently forever? You can never find them again, or anything.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, if we have a look here, so where we've got the roster here, they're my current hunters. So the one I just took with us there was Zara Thornhill.
No,
it was
Aldrich Shuttleworth.
Aldrich Shuttleworth, attorney at law.
Yeah, it does sound.
Aldrich Shuttleworth, attorney at law. Olivia Robshalou, press agent. I like to imagine what they did.
I just like the fact the special one is just known as the Black Coat. No,
the Black Coat?
Just the Black Coat.
He's got one of the things I really like about him is he's kind of a criminal. So when you look at his hands when he's doing the little clue elements, he's got the bands on his hands and tattoos on his fingers of little skulls and stuff. It's a really nice character design in that regard. There are some really nicely designed characters. But when you're talking about the characters, when they're gone, they're gone. When you go to the recruitment panel here, you basically get one for free from each reshuffle.
Right.
And when you go down, when you've picked one, you can then reshuffle for free. So, for example, I could pick Louise here and not pay anything for her, or I could pick one of these and pay a little bit more.
Yeah.
You'll see it says Tier 2 or Tier 1, character-wise.
I'm guessing that's to do with their loadout.
Yeah, pretty much. And you'll get a random loadout, so sometimes you'll have an item that you won't have unlocked, but these characters will have them equipped. So I don't have Dauntless, because I'm not high enough level.
Yeah.
But I could buy this character and have these perks. And you can use the in-game money to do it. It's not a microtransactions thing. And then you could try out that loadout and say, oh yeah, okay. Or like, for example, this character's got the Derringer. A little pistol that's like a secondary.
Derringer, yeah.
Really cool because it's like a third gun. So it's really clever. But you could potentially say, well, I haven't unlocked that yet. I'll pick Mabina. I've never heard it.
Mabina O'Malone.
Mabina O'Malone.
We'll call her Double M.
Double M here.
Yeah.
You can then pick her and try out her loadout and see how she gets on, and then go from there and say, oh, actually, well, I'm going to remake a survivor with that. Likewise, your sole survivors here. There's a quick play mode where it's basically all versus all. It is a battle royale.
Oh, that's cool. So there are different modes in the game.
And if you survive in that quick play mode, there are weapons lying around the map. You can pick them up, and if you win, you then get to keep the survival with the weapons you picked up. So you could pick up.
You could end up with really high level weapons. And then
escape.
Them and escape.
But there can only be one. It's like Highlander.
Oh, yes.
We were talking about Highlander before this.
We were, yeah, there can be only one. But no.
And then there's one last one, which is Legendary Hunters. So these ones here are the ones, you'll see I've got the Weird Sister and I've also got the Black Coat, which you saw. These are the Bonds characters. So you'll see the description here. They're assigned a random set of health chunks. They're assigned 3 traits based on your bloodline, so your overall level. The higher the bloodline, the more valuable the trait. So this is basically a case of you never know what they're going to come with, but they never have equipment.
So you have to buy these, I'm guessing, with both types of currency.
Yes, you buy them.
The double skull white currency and the sort of
the coins.
Coins.
Yeah, so you would buy them once with the the blood bonds they're called, and then they're unlocked permanently. And then, for example, this guy, the Bone Doctor, I've had him, but he's died. To bring him back now because he's unlocked, I could click on him and then click on hire.
Oh, right, and you hire him back. So you can get them back again.
Yeah, and you'll find that a lot of the survivors look similar. So you'll see here, Mabina, if you look at my roster, looks very, very similar to Zara, but just without the hat.
Yeah.
So they are sort of an amalgamation of different parts, and you can kind of pick the ones you like the look of. But there's not much point in getting too invested, because once they get to a certain level, you want to retire them so you get the experience, and also they die.
I'm guessing it's more about the traits you pick, the loadout you have, and your playstyle.
Definitely.
As opposed to the look of your hunter.
Definitely. The thing is, as well, is it's the kind of game where you really need to think about how you're going to do what you want to do, if you know what I mean. There's an element of, you can kind of, I'm not that good, you'll see like 35 to 49 is not a good ratio. But there's an element
top
of...
one, I think, was 237 to 14 deaths.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy, some of the people that play it. But the thing with the game is that it's very much a case of finding your personal play style, finding what you like, finding someone you like to play with, and then going for it, really. There is a bit of lore in the library, so you can find out a bit about the monsters. So, for example, the assassin, I can click claim and then read about the assassin.
Oh, so that's a cool feature. If you're interested, you can actually unlock the knowledge about the creatures and things like that. That's really cool.
And then as you beat them more and more, you unlock more and more pages. So, for example, if we click on the grunt here, I can click claim to see a little bit about the grunt. I can kill 100 grunts to then open it up again. I'll get a load of blood bonds for doing that as well, and then I can see a bit more. So
that's really, really interesting.
It's a nice way to get the lore.
Developers have put a lot of thought into the lore rather than just we'll throw it at the player and they can read it when they want.
I'd like to see more of the lore in the game itself, though. I'd like to see, I don't expect the characters to sort of talk about it or anything like that.
No.
But it'd be nice to have sort of like little posters or little asides, or you go into camps usually and there are dead people around, like there are dead bodies and stuff like that. It'd be cool if there was maybe the occasional little note or the occasional little Easter egg to find.
Yeah.
Maybe a poster or sometimes you come across, for example, a caravan that's been attacked, and those caravans will have like some ammo next to them. It'd be cool if maybe there was a couple of characters posed there, or maybe a way they're sitting,
or like a journal or something.
Just a little look. There was one really creepy thing we found at one point, which was we went through the sort of the graveyard area, and as we were going through the bayou, there was one grave on its own with a China doll in front of it, and it actually had a name on it. So
Lovely.
I think it might be someone who funded the game or someone who's got a relation there. But it was generally really creepy, and that's what I like. I like when the game leans into the creepiness.
So the things I can say I've taken away: customization is really good.
Yep.
The graphics and sound design, especially the sound design, on point. The more methodical, tactical gameplay.
Yeah.
And the fact that it does look like an interesting world. Everything. Yeah. There's a lot of sort of thought into making monsters look different to each other.
Yeah.
They're not just a copy and paste. The grunt looks like the immolator. The immolator looks like something else.
Yeah. I think the thing is that I'd like to see this world expanded on. I mean, so far there's been a couple of DLCs, and all they've really done is add characters that you can buy. And I'd like to see maybe a couple more enemies, maybe a couple more maps. But, it's early days, and maybe that's the case. Maybe we will see those things in time.
Hopefully.
But other than that, thank you very much for joining me today, though, Lord Ash.
That's all right. More than welcome.
No worries. Well, other than that, thank you as well to everyone watching this. We hope you've enjoyed the video. Where can they find more of your work?
If you go onto YouTube and type in Good Face for Gaming, you'll find my YouTube channel. On there, just today, in fact, I uploaded a new Skyrim roleplay. So it's not just a Let's Play, it's an actual roleplay. But yeah, there'll be more videos to come. I think my next one is actually going to be an older game, Arkham Asylum. Batman
cool.
Arkham Asylum.
I love that game. Very cool. I'm going to check that out. Also, guys, if you have enjoyed what you're watching here, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I know you hear it all the time, but it really helps out. If you want to check out my articles as well and support me there, it's nextstepnick.com. There's no adverts, everything's free. Just literally a way of me keeping track of my work, so feel free to head over there if you would be so kind. But other than that, thank you for joining me, and we'll catch you all later. It's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me.
Thank you very much. See you later.
Bye.